we're going to get started with the training here tonight, guys. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Joel, and I'm going to spend some time on lead generation because I think it's important. You know, all the training that I do centers all the time around those 5 critical activities that we're going to be able to do to build our business. If you haven't figured that out yet, if you've listened to some of the, previously recorded training that we have, everything always revolves around the critical 5 activities. So we're going to talk about number 1, which is building your contact list. And of course, this is kind of, if you look at, what's most important to start with, well, I mean, without a contact list, we really can't do anything else. Right? This is really, and that's activity number 1, of course. This is the first thing we need to do. We need to have prospects to talk to, about the business and about the product. And there's obviously the 2 types of people that, we can spend our time talking about and building our list through. Primarily tonight, I'm going to concentrate on generating leads or generating prospects for the business, okay, people to work with, generating distributors, which is obviously going to multiply and grow your business very fast. Not to say that you should neglect generating leads for customers or generating potential customers. We're just not going to spend a huge amount of time talking about that tonight. The other thing is a lot of the concepts that we do talk about tonight, too, can be easily translated into generating leads for product customers as well, people that are just interested in the product. So be creative. Everything that I talk about tonight should not be taken literally word for word. Obviously, I'm going to give you guys some good ideas and some things that you can do to actively generate your own leads and prospects and be talking to people as early as, well, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe as early as Wednesday or Thursday to be able to build your business. So tonight I'm going to focus on classified newspaper advertising, all right? And this is a kind of, I guess, topic that's very near and dear to me. I've been running classified ads in newspapers for years now, and I learned from a couple of gentlemen that taught me very well, and this is, a good source of my contacts and prospects have come from running newspaper advertising over the last number of years, all right? And to this day, I still run newspaper ads in different places at different times, and I think it's important that you understand that newspaper advertising does work. Here's the key with newspaper ads, okay? Consistency. Okay, and feel free to write down that if you're going to take some notes tonight. Try not to write down everything I say because we are recording this call and you can listen to it over and over and over again to get all the details and in case you miss stuff. I want you to pay attention to some of the key things that I say, though. Newspaper advertising doesn't work very well if you just run one ad one day, one time, and that's it. Okay, it's not necessarily going to pay results. It's the same as anything that we do in our business. Consistency is really going to pay in the long term. So, when you're starting to run newspaper advertising, I want you to, kind of frame yourself and set aside a budget for the month or for a 2-month or 3-month period. Okay, I don't want you to just say, well, I got $100, so I'm going to spend $100 on ads for 2 days, and hopefully I generate a whole bunch of money so I can make a lot of money with this business, all right? You need to set yourself, a 60-day or a 90-day budget and allocate that money from income that you earn from your job or from your business already to be put aside for that newspaper ad. There's a couple of reasons for that. The first thing is that newspaper ads don't necessarily work on the very first exposure, okay? Same as any other traditional advertising that you'll see on TV and you'll see all over the place. Sometimes it takes a couple of times for you to see that advertising before you go act on it or before you go buy. And it's no different when we advertise in the newspaper, when we advertise for people to come to our website or to call us. It's really no different, all right? We obviously want to put the ad in there a couple times, so maybe they see the ad once or twice or 3 times before they actually take action on that advertising. All right, so just remember that we want to set aside a budget for maybe 60 or 90 days, and I'm going to talk about some very low-cost ways to do that as well. Even if you're on a bit of a shoestring budget or an initial budget that you don't want to spend a lot of money, I'm going to tell you exactly where you can advertise to be able to get the best bang for your buck. All right, so basically we want to make sure, first off, that we're prepared for this. Okay, we don't want to just go in, like I said, and tomorrow start running newspaper advertising, and then all of a sudden, you don't get the results you want, and you quit doing it. We want to kind of develop this over years and years and years and years, and have this kind of source of leads coming in on a consistent basis, and have it be productive. All right. So I'm just going to go through a couple of highlights of things that we want to think about, I guess, in terms of the classified ads as well. We always run in, well, I've always personally run anyway. I've tried a couple different things, but The most success I've always had is in running classified advertising in business opportunities sections, all right, of the newspaper for a network marketing business. And the reason why is for two things. You can put it in whatever section you want, but business opportunities is the best one because it's actually people targeted looking for a business opportunity when they go to that section. So they're looking for exactly what we have to offer, all right? They're not looking for a job. They're not looking for a house to buy. They're not looking for, free kittens. They're looking for a business opportunity if they look in that section. So our leads and prospects that come out of that section are going to be highly targeted. We don't want people looking for other stuff. The other thing is some newspapers are going to try and sell you display ads, all right? And display ads are basically those big ads you see in newspaper, kind of a business card size maybe, or a 2x2 inch or something like that, maybe 4x4 inches or a half a page or whatever it is. They're going to try and sell you those because they're going to tell you that they work better. I'm here to tell you, in my experience, they do not, all right? Because normally the display advertising just goes in the newspaper somewhere untargeted. I mean, you could end up in the sports section. So we don't want to be there. We want to be in the section where people are specifically looking for a business opportunity in the classified section, all right? So, the display ads, I would just turf them right off the bat, especially if you're first starting out. Later on, if you got a lot of money to blow, go for it. They are very expensive, and they normally don't provide the same type of results or the same type of lead per dollar type of results that you're going to get from a classified ad. All right, and we're going to go through, some samples and stuff like that tonight as well, and I'll go through how to obviously run it and how you can get started right away locally in your one of your local newspapers. All right, so basically I want to talk about, the next thing I'm going to talk about is where do I advertise? And then we're going to talk about what do I say, because most people on the call, if I go through tons of mumbo jumbo about the entire history of newspaper classifieds and all that, you get lost and you forget, and then, you kind of get bored and you're not interested anymore. So where do I advertise is one of the most important questions you're thinking of or that you don't know that you want answered. Well, the best place to start is actually in your local newspaper, all right? Now, you're going to have, normally in most cities, you're going to have 2 or 3 different publications that you can run in. Now, I'm going to just differentiate which you select to start in and to advertise in. The weekly newspapers are excellent. They're very good bang for your buck. Normally in a weekly newspaper, because it's a free publication and it only comes out once a week, it's going to be a lot less expensive, okay? It's still going to go out to a good number of houses. The circulation's probably smaller than the daily newspapers, but it still goes out to a really good number, and it is a home delivery too. It's going to end up in people's mailboxes. So, those newspapers are really good because you're normally only going to pay maybe $5 a week or $10 or maybe $20 a week for your advertising, okay, to go into those newspapers. But for $10 a week, I mean, if I can get into a newspaper for $10 a week, really, in that week, I only really have to generate maybe 2 or 3 leads to make it even worthwhile. If you're looking at buying leads either through the co-op or buying leads online for people looking for business opportunities, you're going to pay $3, $4, $5 a lead, maybe $8 a lead sometimes for a really good qualified lead. And think about this. These leads that you're going to generate are people that are in your local area, okay, in your city. They're going to be pretty much exclusive to you because they've answered your ad. It's not like you're going to start selling that lead to other people, right? You want it for yourself. So, those are very highly qualified good leads that are going to come in through the business opportunity sections of those papers. And if you can spend $10 maybe this week running that ad and you get 2 or 3 or 4 phone calls or a few hits on your website and a few people opting in for information, you've done your job. You don't need to get 400 hits or 400, phone calls from one little ad for $10. You're really only looking for a few phone calls. The other thing is, don't get depressed if you don't get any or if you get one. We can always change your ad up a little bit, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But you can also let your ad run for a couple weeks, right? 2, 3, 4 weeks. Think about this. If you run it for 4 weeks, it costs you $40. Maybe you only got 1 phone call the first week. Maybe next week you get 4. And then you get 5, and then you get 2, right? It's going to average out over time the number of calls and the number of inquiries and prospects that you do get from those newspapers, all right? So don't be depressed if you only get 1 or 2 phone calls. 1 of 2 things. Maybe your ad sucks, okay, which we can change the copy of the ad a little bit. Or maybe it just needs some time to get in there and have people seeing it multiple times before they respond to it, all right? So that, I mean, that's a great place. The other place, obviously, like I talked about, the daily newspapers, now they're going to cost a little bit more. You're going to pay probably anywhere from, maybe $100 a week to a few $100s a week for a daily newspaper ad. If you're going to run it maybe just for a couple of days, run it on a weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday's a really good day for business opportunities, and of course over the weekends are good, is what I found. If you're going to run it for 4 days, run it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Don't run it, like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if those are the only 2 or 3 days you're going to run it. Otherwise, run it for the full 7 days, and you're going to get a good bang for your buck because you'll constantly be in that newspaper, which is good. But if you're only going to run it for a couple of days, normally I like to hit on Monday, Saturday, Monday, as well as a Tuesday, which works out really well. And obviously there's some deals and stuff like that. You can talk to the newspaper about running for multiple days or multiple weeks or multiple insertions. Feel free to kind of barter with your newspaper a little bit. Sometimes they won't necessarily give you the best deal right away. If you talk to them about going in the paper multiple times and over a period of time and wanting to do it all the time, they may give you a bit of a discount. Maybe they'll give you 5% or 10% off your ads, or maybe they'll give you a free ad for every 10 times you insert it or something like that. I know there's lots of papers that do that, and I know it's going to feel a little uncomfortable asking for that at first off the start for you, but just be aware that they do give some deals to advertisers and people that go into the newspaper on a regular basis. So feel free to make sure you ask about it at least, if they can cut you a deal, or if you can get a deal if you're continuously advertising there or something like that. Because the newspapers definitely do want to fill space, and they do want your ad in there on a regular basis. All right. As well, obviously, the longer you run the ad, the cheaper it gets. So, for instance, a 1 week ad, sometimes, if it costs you $100, 4 weeks, if you book it for the whole 4 weeks, maybe it'll only cost you $250, right? So you end up paying for 2.5 weeks and getting a week and a half free based on the cost structure that they have. So if you are going to continuously run in the newspaper, ask them what the cost would be for a day, a week, and a month. Okay, because they'll give you different costs, and obviously you can figure out what's the best bang for your buck. Don't ever put it in for a month off the start until you've tested it a little bit. You want to obviously get your ads in there, test them, see if they're working, see whether or not you're getting any results. Because the worst thing for you to do is spend $600 on an ad for a month, and in the first week you don't get any phone calls, right? And then you're kind of sitting there going, holy geez, I spent all this money, and I'm not even going to get any results out of the deal, all right? So make sure that you test your ad for a weekend or for 3-4 days first. Make sure you're getting a good response, and then you can go ahead and place it for longer if you do choose so. Okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is how to write the ad. You know where you're going to run it now. You're going to pick one of your local newspapers to run the ad. You're going to run it in business opportunities in your newspaper. Now, what do I say in my ad is one of the most important things, and I'm going to go through a bit of a structure of an ad for you guys that I've had success with. I mean, again, these are ideas. These are, what I've found works in the past. Feel free to test your own. Feel free to go out on your own and be creative. Just don't come back to me and say I didn't teach you anything. Don't say I didn't give you tips, okay, if your ad flops, right? There's nothing, worse than you just going and completely ignoring everything I talk about and then wondering why it didn't work, all right? So I'm going to give you some main ideas in terms of things that I do and that I make sure with my ads, and then we're going to break down and maybe write an ad tonight and give you kind of an idea of an ad that you might be able to run, all right? So the first thing is the most important part of your ad is going to be your headline, all right? And this is the same in internet advertising, Google AdWords. This is the same in any advertising you do online, email advertising. Anything that you can think of is the same as newspaper advertising. So if you get good at writing an ad in a classified section of a newspaper, you'll be good at writing ads for Google AdWords. You'll be good at writing ads for any, pay-per-click search engines, anything online. Anywhere you can run an ad, you'll be good. All right. The most important thing, though, is you spend some time with your headline, all right, because the headline is really going to attract attention or it's not. Now, for those of you guys that are internet savvy, a great place to go and, find headlines, I guess, if you don't want to be too creative, is just go to google.com or google.ca, okay? And this is kind of a neat, this is where this isn't where I started, but this is where I kind of go now to borrow headlines or get ideas and stuff like that, because there's all kinds of, at an instant, I can find headlines and stuff like that. You can also search the newspaper, the business opportunity section in the newspaper currently in your local paper. Have a look and see what's in there. All right, get some ideas from some of their ads. See if there's an ad that's always appearing all the time, and maybe analyze that ad and find out why. All right. So I'm just going to go to Google and I'm going to type in the words home business. Okay, because that's what people are looking for, or you can type in business opportunities or whatever. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to just look at all the headlines of the sponsored ads, which are usually the top 2 or 3 at the top in blue or yellow or whatever the sponsored links are in your computer, okay? And then all the sponsored links down the right-hand side of Google, okay? And there's a bunch of them. And the headlines basically in my computer are in blue, and then there's the rest of the text below that. The headline is just the first line of the sentence. What I've found that works really well, too, just to give you guys an idea, is dollar figures work very well. If you put a dollar figure in the ad, it'll catch attention because it'll normally be different. Most people, when they run ads, don't use a dollar figure in it. So if you write $5,000 a month or you write $100,000 first year or something like that, basically the headline is the time you want to spend the most on your ad, 75 to 80% of your time writing your headline and making sure that it's something that kind of jumps out at you. Like I said, you can do a bit of research online and you don't have to, click on all these ads, because what you're going to find is if you start clicking on them, you're going to get lost on the internet looking at all kinds of different other businesses and what's going on and who's doing what, and this one looks neat and this little thing is, and you don't want to be getting into that. But just looking for, headlines is good. Just searching some of those sponsored links, you're going to get a huge variety of different headlines that people are using to be creative. But really be creative and think of what the type of person you want to attract would be interested in. Okay, what would you be interested in, right? You're obviously the type of person you want to attract because you joined this business. So maybe what caught your eye when you first joined, if you remember, all right? So have a look through that and come up with your headline. Now, the next part we want to do, obviously, is write the rest of our ad, the body of our text of our ad. And here's what you're going to want to watch. It's very important that you understand that long ads, to me, are fairly boring in the newspapers, and I found that writing long ads in newspapers don't work as well as short, succinct ads that say something to the person, all right? We want to focus on what it is, what's the main benefit for the individual, okay, that is reading the ad. What is the main benefit for them clicking on your website, or what is the main benefit from them calling you going to be, okay? Which is obviously, the main benefit is going to be making money from home, okay? Maybe it's better health, okay? Maybe it's, getting out of debt. Maybe it's buying a new home. I don't know what it is for that individual, but you got to try and figure out what the main benefit that you're going to be offering that individual is, okay? And obviously, one of the main benefits that I can think of that we'll talk about tonight is offering them to make money from home, right? Make extra money from home, simple system to do it, that kind of stuff. And really, ask the newspaper advertising classified person when you call them if they charge by line or if they charge by number of words, and if there's a minimum number of lines or a minimum number of words, okay? It's important to know that because you want to try to stay somewhere around the minimum so that your ad doesn't start costing too much. I know a lot of the weekly newspapers, what they say is just 25 words or less, okay? The minimum number of words that you're paying for is 25, so you may as well use them all up, okay? Some other newspapers just go based on lines. Sometimes it's 2 lines, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4. Depending on the newspaper, they'll set a minimum number of lines that you're going to pay for whether you use them or not. Anything over that minimum, though, you're going to pay extra for. Okay, so just remember that you don't want to keep your ad, you don't want to start blabbing on about what they got to do and how the business works and all that. That's what your phone call or that's what the website is going to do for you, okay, is going to go through all that. All your ad is trying to do is get the person to either go to your website or to call you. That's it. Just take action immediately. That's all you want to do. And we're going to do that by obviously telling them to take action, and we're going to do that by showing them a benefit to them, all right? So I'm just going to give you a sample of an ad that we've used in the past that's worked very well for a network marketing business, and to get lots of people interested, I'm going to write a short little ad here, and it's going to go like this. It's going to be $5,000 in numbers per month, so / month, ! Okay? Now, the month is going to be capitalized. You always want to capitalize your headline, all right? Obviously, $5,000 can't be capitalized because it's just going to be numbers. But I'm going to capitalize the word month. I'm going to ask the classified rep to do that for me, and I'm going to put an exclamation mark. I'm also going to do two other things, okay, and this is important for your headline. I'm going to ask them to put just that and that only on the first line, okay, because what that'll do is it'll stand out a lot more if they can do that. If they can't, some of them can't, they just got to run it right through, but if they can, a lot of them will put that just on the first line for you. The other thing I'm going to ask them to do is center it and bold it. All right, center it and bold it on the first line too. So $5,000 a month, center, bolded, first line. Next, I'm going to put simply returning phone calls from home. Simply returning phone calls from home. Okay, and that's going to be basically telling them what they got to do to get that money. All right, all they got to do is return phone calls, which basically our business really is. You know, if they're going to call you, all you're going to do is return their phone call, put them on a call. I'll do all the explaining and all the presenting about the business, and then they're going to join or they're not. So basically, simply returning phone calls from home. That's worked very well. I can put part-time in there, PT, call, 24 hours, and then a phone number. Okay, 1-800. Or 613-384, right? Write your local phone number if you want, if it's a local ad. If you're going to advertise in a newspaper that's outside of your calling area, you're going to want to set up an 800 number for that. I'm not going to teach you how to do that tonight, but it's fairly simple. You can just call your local phone company or call a long-distance service provider, and they can set you up with an 800 number fairly cheaply. You know, normally it's free to set up, and then it's 5 or 8 cents a minute, depending on the service that you get. You can get some now online, too, that, you know, they'll actually email you all the voicemails and stuff like that if you do want to go that route, all right? So basically that's our ad that I've written tonight, $5,000 per month, simply returning phone calls from home, part-time, call, 24 hours, and then my phone number. Okay. The other thing you can do, too, is you can obviously write an ad that's going to be going to your website, which will write a short little ad to go to the website, too. $5,000 a month, part-time, exclamation mark. Okay. So that means, obviously, it's going in the business opportunity section. It's telling them, hey, you can earn $5,000 a month here, part-time. And that's obviously an income potential, but, you know, we don't have to write that in the ad. We'll talk about that either over the phone or we'll talk about that in the website. All right. Now, the most important thing about when they call you is that you take their first name and phone number down right away and call them back, okay? Or just have your voicemail pick up. And the voicemail is simple, just, hi, thanks for responding to our advertisement about generating income from home. Please leave your first name and phone number with area code, and an associate will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, something like that. If you are going to run an ad in a local newspaper to go to your own personal voicemail at home that your family uses, you're going to have to change it. You can't have it say, hi, it's Jim and Mary and John. Leave a message and we'll call you back. You can't have it doing that. It's very unprofessional, and people won't even know if that's the right phone number. They'll think maybe it's a typo, so they won't leave their name and number. Make sure you obviously say that, you know, you've answered an ad about a business opportunity. We'd love to talk to you as soon as possible. Please leave your first name and phone number. All right? And then obviously if you send them to the website, it'll simply ask them for their name and phone number and stuff like that, and you can get back to them. Okay? So there's a couple of sample ads that just to give you an idea. You notice they're very short. You know, I kept the headline very short. I kept the body, 1-2 lines max. And I told them what to do, right? Go to www. or call now, 24 hours, 613, blah, 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 right? And the phone number. So really, I'm just telling them a short benefit. You can make money from home, right? $5,000 a month. Here's all you have to do. Simply returning phone calls, simply giving away free samples, and then the website or the phone number to go to, all right, to get the information. And at that point, really all we're trying to do is collect the information so that we can call them back, right, as a prospect. You don't want to get into a huge conversation about what they're going to be doing or what it's all about or anything like that. It's the same type of script that you're going to use, right? Hi, great. Can I just get your first name and phone number? Wonderful. Listen, I'm just setting appointments so that I can obviously get you the information about the business. We're also giving away free introductory packs to people that are interested in the business, so you can try the product before if you decide to get started or not. But what I need to do is just book an appointment with you, right? And then book them for one of the live calls. Never send them to the presentation without getting their phone number and name first, because how are you going to follow up with them? Okay? If you send them to the presentation or the other website and they don't call you back, at least if you have their first name and their phone number, then you can always get back to them if they did call you for the information. Okay, I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys right now, but obviously I'm just kind of going through different things as I think about them, and we're trying to just get a basis of, being able to effectively run a newspaper ad here this week if you choose to do so, or in the future, obviously, if you choose to do so, and you can listen to the recording of this again and again and again to kind of pick up some of the details and things that you might have missed the first time. So have a great night, everyone. Hopefully this has been helpful, and get out there and run an ad, see what it does for your business, and see how many calls you can get or how many prospects that you can talk to, as it'll provide you kind of a never-ending source of leads and good prospects forever. Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.